All right, greetings Internet. Today we're going to go over the overheads and room on the song Superficialstition by the band 86. I already have it queued up here. And let's just hit play. This is with nothing turned on. This is just the raw tracks as recorded. And I have the overheads up front, room sort of in the back a little bit. We're going to hit play. Here is just the overheads. And here is just the room. All right, and with drum overheads, I typically try to capture the whole kit. I was using some Mojave Audio mics for this, and a lot of low end on them, great sounding mics. For the most part, just a little bit of cleanup. So let's show you where we ended up. All right, we ended up using the waves or the soft tube equalizers. Just a low and low mid cut, and then American Class A, drive, compression, EQ, a little bit more of that low mid end coming out. And then on the room, did everything with the American Class A, just basically a lot of lows, mid, cut, lots of drive, a little more compression, and let us replicate it real quick. All right, so with a drum overhead, we're just capturing the whole kit. We'll start as usual with the high pass. And sort of bring up, just sort of clearing out some of the low end, low mids that are sort of getting in the way of the smoothness of my cymbals. I'm still trying to catch the overall kit pretty well. So we'll start there. Since the kick, like the low end isn't really coming through a whole lot, I'm just going to bring it up to the fundamental of the snare. Cut it out a little bit. All right, after that, I'm going to do a little bit of cut. Again, maybe around 130, do a nice big bell. And wind this out. All right, next up, I'm going to do another sort of bigger cut around here. You can hear just sort of the low mid is sort of getting away. A little clunky sounding, so we're going to do that. I'm going to narrow it a bit. Wind this a bit more. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. I might see what this ring does here. Narrow this. We'll notch that down. All right, that's it for now. I'll show you what that did to the signal. All right. Then after that, we're going to throw on the American Class A. I'll start with the drive. And we'll bring this drive up. Keep it about 12 o'clock. All right. Let me show you that real quick. Here's without. Here's with. Just a lot more vibe to it. All right, now with this EQ, we're gonna turn this on real quick. The only thing I'm gonna do is cut about 500 hertz, With this EQ, we're gonna turn it on. I'm gonna only cut about 200 hertz just with the bell here. Just to clean up that signal a little bit more. That's about it. Now we're going to do some compression. I'm going to move this attack about right here. So I'm going to speed it. Typically with drums, you don't want to do much more or much faster than 10 millisecond attack, at least with me. You really start clamping down on the energy. And I'm going to speed up this release. Bring this threshold maybe about to a 2 to 1. Or going to start bringing it in so you can hear it. Turn this off so you can... That's tamping down the dynamics a little bit, smoothing out the sound. And that, we're just going to leave it alone. And that is our overhead. All right, now with this room. So here's where we started, here's where we ended up. So with rooms, we're just adding a sense of space for the most part. In this particular mix, I wanted it to be a little dirty, I guess. Let me get rid of that. And we'll start from scratch. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this up to 3. And do this -3. I just want that... you saw on that the American Class A on the overheads, I was really having to bring that threshold of the compressor down quite a bit. Just to have a little more room to play with so that hits sooner. I'm just going to boost it on the input. And we're just going to play with, to start, we're going to play with the drive. So, I'm going to crank it. I think I had about 8 o'clock. You hear that just really brings out that room sound. We're going to bring the high end in a little bit. Let me turn that off real quick. Here's without. Here's with. All right, now we're going to throw in a high pass and EQ, and all what we're going to do is just bring out a lot of that low and mid range. So we're going to bring this up to about here. All right, then I'm going to do a shelf cut. We're going to bring that all the way up. Drop that down a little bit. I'm going to do another cut. All right, there. And here's a little, if this person's singing, it sounds a little nasally. So that's usually a 1 to 3K thing. I'll just boost this real quick. Just gonna bring that down. Bypass this real quick. Here's without. Here's with. That sort of just makes it sound, to me, it makes it sound a little more distant in that room. What we're gonna do with this mix is we're actually gonna bring that room in quite a bit to add just a very rock and roll sort of trashy sound, like just, you know, a little more rock and roll. All right, compression. Can actually take a little slower on the attack, and maybe do like a 4-to-1. Because we're going to be more aggressive with this, and then all right, I'm going to turn it up a little more. Turn it off. All right, now let's mix this in with the rest of the drums. Actually, we'll bring it in with the overhead first. So here's clean overhead. Bring But now what we're going to actually do is I'm going to bring it in with the rest of the drums. So mute that. All right. Now, let's hit play. We'll just bring it in with the drums. And there we go. That is a quick run through on the overheads with the soft tube equalizers and the American Class A. I hope you guys learned something and had some fun. See you all next round. Bye.